So one of the challenges that a lot of people, probably a good portion of people who develop PNES experience is that you find yourself unable to work in a normal 9 to 5 job where you are outside of the house or restricted to certain hours because, let's face it, until you get a handle on the PNES, sorry, um, you life is unpredictable, and you have to accept that. Acceptance is key. So what can you do? It's going to change in every area. So the best thing to do is to search in your area, do a local search, and see what kind of jobs there are available for people to do at home. Think about what your strengths are and go with that. If you are good at writing, maybe content writing for local advertising, or you can search bigger companies even. A lot of bigger companies, they're online, so they require people to work from home, and they have more flexibility. One thing to keep in mind is that you don't need to overshare. That is extremely important, especially for something like PNES where there's so much misunderstanding and it's being generated online. So unless you're asked directly, do you have PNES, or you know that the person understands what it is, you don't need to complicate it. The best thing to do is just to say that you're looking for something with flexible hours, that you're looking for something that you can work from home, and highlight the benefits of why it would be beneficial. Try not to focus on the negatives. There's a lot that people can do. A couple things, if you're good at online sales or selling things online, eBay, or have an Amazon store or whatever, if you're creative, if you can create a product, if you draw, if you sew, or if you have an interest in those things, if you can somehow incorporate something that you love into making money, it's going to go so far for you. And if you have the ability, try to test out a couple of things. I mean, I incorporated art therapy into the beginning of my healing with PNES and getting a handle on it, and I realized that I had a bit, an ability that I didn't know was there, and I was able to develop it, as well as try to find ways that I could make money with it. I found that working online, creating websites or writing content, was something that was relatively easy to do, and I don't know, everybody has natural gifts, so exploit those. Don't take something that you love and put pressure on it to generate money with it, but if you can somehow incorporate those two things into a stress-free working arrangement, it can't get any better than that. But there are things that you can do. We have so many things that can feel like they're limiting us. And when we realize that we're only limited by our imagination, then it allows us to develop maybe some ideas. Just start with one idea. Just look around. The internet is, even though it can be a dangerous place, it's a place where you can get a lot of inspiration. And anywhere you can get inspiration is a good thing. Just starting to observe around yourself. See things that maybe break easily. If you're good at fixing things, that might be something that you can start creating products. 3D printers are becoming so easy to use nowadays, and I know most people think that's absolutely an insane statement, but you should check it out because they make it now so that the average person can purchase one and start using it readily. It's getting a lot easier, and that's one of those things that hopefully, if if we have luck, that will be part of everybody's household equipment, so that we're not running out to the store when we can't find a screw or we can't find a piece to, or for instance, in my old house, I had a wheel in my dishwasher that broke, and I could either pay $22 to the manufacturer, or I could use a 3D printer to make a new wheel. If you're inclined to things like that, you know, the sky's the limit. I mean, making your own, I could get, you know, go on a roll on 3D printers, but I'll stop there. We have a lot more opportunities than we think, and we have to use imagination. You know, we have to grab onto that child in us and see, what did we want to do when we were younger, and find from that the traits. You know, I knew that I wanted to help people when I was younger, and so when I was in high school, I volunteered at a hospital for elderly patients, and I thought maybe I would want to work as a vet, and so I got a job later on in a vet office. But I knew that it was about caring for people, and that's what I wanted to do, to help people. So tap into that. If it's about creating, if it's things that, you know, where you do things in solitude, hey, you're in the right place. You know, I mean, people with PNES, I mean, that's kind of our forte at this point, is spending time alone, trying to get in touch with ourselves. But we can turn this around, and we can make it a gift. Or we at least identify the gifts within it. You know, it's not a cakewalk, and I don't at all minimize what anyone goes through. I struggled for 3 months where it was just rolling seizures, and I spent the majority of the day unconscious, or at least I appeared unconscious. I was truly inside and just kind of waiting for my body to be able to start working again. But in the meantime, I just listened, and I became an observer of my environment. And once I was able to stop being afraid of the fact that I was paralyzed, I used that time to think and process and go backwards in time and think about what got me, which trigger activated that seizure. And I was able to use that to my advantage. There's a lot of things that I've been able to use to my advantage, but only when I started to think about it that way. And it is not an easy thing to think of. It really isn't. This is truly the most challenging limitations that I've ever had, and I'm learning my way through it. But it does get easier, and once I was able to reframe certain things, those things, when they were under the negative light, they actually were triggers for me. And once I was able to reframe them, they no longer were triggers. So the more I was able to do that, the less triggers that I had, as well as, of course, eliminating people, places, and things that I was already able to identify as triggers. So, don't give up hope. Whatever you do in life, find purpose in it. You know, we can do amazing things. We don't have to be out in the workplace. If you look at the way that the economy is going and the way businesses are, a lot of places have work that you can do from home. It's just, I think that we feel very limited, but once we get a little success under our belt and we're able to accomplish, we feel good, and it just snowballs. It can snowball, and I'm not saying this because I'm full of hope and whatever. It's because I live it. This is life now, and it's not limitation free. It's not struggle free. It's not challenge free. It is full of all those things, and I can still find joy if I choose to look for it. And I find plenty of despair when I look for that too, or when I put myself in a place. And, sometimes you just have to roll with it and process it and just let yourself feel. It's the last thing you want to do with PNES is repress your emotions. You want to process it and process until it's gone. Just observe what's happening, why it's happening. I don't believe there's an overthinking. I think once you get to the root of something, you found the root, and then the solutions can begin. So don't give up hope. If you can't work in your regular job, just as I wasn't able to after the seizure started, find your joy somewhere else. Maybe it's a blessing in disguise. For me, it was. I was in a job that I wasn't happy in, and that it was aiding and creating more stress that was leading up to the PNES. I'm grateful for that job, and I'm grateful for all the work that I've ever done. I do recognize that I didn't have the appropriate coping skills at that time to work in such a high stress environment. But I hope this is helpful, and please feel free to comment, ask questions, and if you want to hear anything specific, please message me. I will get back as soon as possible. I'll try to be more consistent with this now, trying to share what I've learned and apply and do as much good as I can with it. Thank you.